Halo 5 sucks. That's right, I said it. Nobody else seems to share this opinion, so I'll show you myself. Here, take a look. Everything that you see in Halo 5 wasn't asked for. A 4-man squad / campaign mode that takes away co-op? Yeah, definitely add that. It's not like co-op isn't a huge staple of the Halo franchise that people love and look forward to in every iteration. I have a friend personally who I exclusively play Halo co-op with because he only buys Sony products. And now I guess he'll never get to play because there's no co-op in any way, shape, or form. To make matters even worse, you can't co-op split screen, like multiplayer, at all. And I'm not even joking. I mean, I wish I was, because it's that bad. In several articles in the beginning, when people were talking about Halo 5, they said that Halo 5 had no multiplayer co-op. Halo 5 had no co-op single player. First it was just single player, then it grew to be multiplayer, and you know, I didn't believe this. I was like, no, there's no way they'd do that. There's no way 343 is gonna touch the co-op, because it's such a staple. It is the most important part of Halo. That's what we all think of when we think of Halo. We're like, oh yeah, I could play that game with my buddy. Or, oh yeah, time to go over to my friend's house and play some Halo. Yeah, I know me personally, I take my Halo Master Chief Collection everywhere I go because all my friends don't have it. I'm the only one who bought the game because it was such a mess at launch, and you know, I bring it everywhere so we can play together. And there's gonna be none of that in Halo 5. And here we are, and it is terrible not having it. It really is. 343 decided to listen to nobody when it came to making this game. There were several surveys out there that people could take a part in and give their feedback and opinion on Halo 5. And I don't know if they listened to any of it, because they did things I specifically said, don't do that, that would be very stupid. For instance, since Halo 1, Halo Combat Evolved, there was local co-op. And that was one of the huge factors that made that game stand out from all of the other first-person shooters and games alike. It was Microsoft's flagship title, and it had co-op, 4-screen co-op. It was right up there with GoldenEye in accessibility and giving you the method of playing with your friends and enemies alike. Halo 2, 3, 4, ODST, Reach, each one of them knew the importance of split screen and even found ways to integrate it into the game in a cool and exciting way, adding specific achievements, multi-seat vehicles, even simple things like playing as the Arbor in Halo 3. These were all well thought out ideas that made you feel cool to be 2-player for once. Why take that away when in Halo 5 you can actually, for the first time ever, be 4 completely different people in a squad? You could have 2 local players and the other one's match made. You could have 2 and 2, and they ruined that opportunity and decided, hey, how about we have nothing? How about we only have the ability to play 4-player online if you're all friends? So you need to invite 4 of your friends, or you're not even going to play Halo 5 with your buddies. It is so stupid. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, to this day, I've been thinking about it all week, and I still cannot figure out what was going through their minds. Now, 343 claimed it couldn't achieve 60 FPS 1080p if co-op was in the game. And did numerous fans around the world scream and beg 343 to have those 1080p visuals with that perfect smooth running 60 FPS? I doubt it. I really don't believe that. Yes, frame rate is awesome. I love it. It's one of the best things, and the only main thing that keeps people playing Call of Duty is that smooth, polished frame rate. But it's not something we need in Halo. Halo has always been about the gameplay, the togetherness, and the competitiveness that Call of Duty doesn't have, because you can't just sit down and be amazing at Halo. It was much harder to get into than, again, like Call of Duty and Battlefield, things of the like. This was the hardcore game. I mean, like back in like Halo 2, Halo 3. Halo 4 went easy. But anyway, I knew Halo 5 when it would come out would look superior to Halo 4. That was enough for me. Games look better as time goes on. It's natural progression. This game wasn't natural. 343 developed a special system for the game that allows game resolution to change dramatically depending on the situation the player is in. If there are large amounts of enemies nearby, you will see their animation slowed or slightly twitch out as you fight them. Although this system 343 developed is extraordinary in its own right, the awkwardness it adds to the enemies, especially on Legendary, is baffling. What I really hate though is that they constantly say they can't include co-op. Oh, we're not going to put in co-op. It's not going to be in here. We're not going to have co-op multiplayer. We're not have co-op single player. There's no co-op. No co-op in Halo 5. Because of the visuals. It's the only reason we're not doing it. But they're not even giving you a native 1080p 60 FPS experience. They're giving you like a weird, cheap cop-out, you know, like, oh man, our elites may move at like 15 frames a second sometimes when they throw a grenade, but you won't notice that, so it doesn't matter. You're an idiot. You're the player. It doesn't matter. It's like, no, dude. We see that. When you play, you will see that. When you're playing Warzone, you will see that. When you're playing single player, you will see that. Your friend will see that. You will see it when you snipe that elite in the head with your sniper rifle. You will see that frame rate issue thing all the time. All the time. It looks really weird. I wouldn't say it's really affecting the gameplay. Same way that you could debate that 1080p does nothing to the game as opposed to having it 720p. I personally have everything at 720p. It's not that big of a deal. I've played on 1080p TVs. I've had them side by side. It's very, very slight, the difference there. So despite these issues, does Halo 5 blow us away with a thrilling single-player campaign? No. More than half the game, you play as Spartan Locke, who's as original and plain as a bag of salted snacks. You follow him and his team of people who have zero character development and likability. Well, I guess aside from Buck, who we know from ODST, that game nobody cares about. Aside from the boring cast, is there any huge gripes with the campaign? Well, it's okay. But that's the problem. I want a campaign that blows me away. Halo 1 taught us that there's a giant ring called Halo that's able to wipe out all life in a certain quadrant of the galaxy. Elite, Spartan, who cares?
And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life.
Halo 2, we found out there is another ring.
Cortana, what exactly am I looking at?
That is another Halo.
Say what?
Halo 3, we found out there's tons of these rings and a giant control switch that can trigger all of them at once, thus ending the fight.
We'll head for the portal, and we'll all go home.
Halo Reach showed us a Halo game could completely suck. And lastly, Halo 4 was the game that turned Halo into a space Call of Duty. The multiplayer bothers me every time I look at it. Online was built to be divided in this game. If you pick Slayer, you're matched to play on tiny, close-quarter CQC maps that look fan-made half the time. And they are. They are Forge-made maps that Bungie, I guess, just shifted out to people and they're like, woo, make your own map. You know, or they had a couple guys in the office just like, hey man, you want to make one of the Forge maps? And we'll put it in the game. It's a lazy cop-out way of adding more maps. It's ridiculous. I can't believe it happened. That's stuff that happened in Halo Reach, if you want to remember that terrible game. When you play Strongholds and capture the flag, you get a retro throwback map or an actual good map. Strongholds and Capture the Flag is in the Arena playlist. That playlist I have noticed has okay maps. It actually has Halo 5 created standout maps. And they're pretty okay. I like them a lot more than I like the Halo 4 maps. That's really great. Good job, guys. Except that there's only like 4 or 5 maps, and you will get the same ones over and over and over. So you constantly have to switch between the different modes. I hate the Slayer maps. So all I end up doing is playing Arena, and if I play Arena, I'm gonna end up playing the same maps over and over and over. What were they thinking? If you remember some of the Halo 3 maps, like Guardian, Snowbound. Those maps were open, yet they weren't so big that you were trekking for miles and miles and miles, like on a Battlefield map where you have to walk like 15 minutes to get back to the fight. Halo had such well-designed maps, and then now we go to Halo 5 and they don't even give us maps. Like, what were they thinking? The biggest issue between this matchmaking with the map setup is that all of these game modes split the maps into tiny segments. If you're playing Capture the Flag, they have Capture the Flag available on this map, this map, this map. If you're playing Slayer, you get those 3 or 4 Forge maps with this map, this map, this map. If you're playing Oddball, all those other modes, they pick and choose, like, okay, only like this and this. Whereas, like, you play all the other games, it was basically available on anything. I mean, you had those giant maps for Big Team. You had really tiny maps that they would use a little more frequently for Slayer. But generally, you could play Oddball on the same map that you could play Slayer, and you could play Capture the Flag on the same map that you could play Oddball. You know, it all kind of worked together. And because you were able to vote, you could pick and choose the mode to the map that you felt like playing. Now, if you're playing Arena, which is the only way to play objective maps, you don't get any choice. They took out the ability to vote on maps in a Halo game. Even Call of Duty took that from Halo in their recent iterations, such as Black Ops 2. So, what's going on here, 343? Like, because I know in your surveys, you could fill out and say, keep the voting. And they took out the voting. And I still don't know why. Maybe because people would see if there's only 2 or 3 other options. You know, on this roulette of theirs, this 3 optioned roulette it can land on. Like, are you kidding me? You know, like, do you want to play Capture the Flag on Fathom or 2 other things? It's just like, you know, if the people knew, they'd be frustrated. So I'm going to tell you right now, there are not that many maps in this game. The lack of voting really affects the matchmaking. It's super irritating because you'll play one game of Slayer on this said map, and then you'll just repeat that map and repeat that map and repeat that map, so much so that you will drop out of Slayer and go in another mode, and then you'll have fun, and then you'll be matching that same map again. That happens constantly to me. This could just be a personal problem, but I get this every time I've played, and I've been playing this game every single day to test this, and it's happened all the time. I constantly end up getting in the exact same map, exact same mode. Very frustrating. So, what about the other modes? Breakout is a new search and destroy style map variant that it's pretty fun, but there's only 3 maps total, so that can get kind of old. For what it is, though, it's okay. I'm hoping people don't take it too like hardcore, because it's, you know, it's all about positioning, and it's not really like a high skill mode, in my opinion. SWAT, it's the same it's always been. Again, it suffers from the same map problems. When it comes to Warzone, which is the game mode I was most excited for, there's little to say. Some people think it's the greatest mode ever invented in a first-person shooter. I just think it's okay. I was hoping for an entire army of elites on one side versus a whole army of Spartans and Marines on another side. The true Halo experience. Man versus alien. Nah, how about you get to push this single base over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and that's just the whole fight. It's just 2 teams pushing 1 or 2 bases in the middle of the map the entire game, with the occasional NPC enemy wave invading, where you get bonus points for killing them. That's it. I mean, yes, it's a pretty interesting concept where you play and you get XP and you're able to buy these boxes, and the boxes give you things to use in Warzone, but it also gives the ability to pay real money to use these items, and that's lame. So it's just all around not my favorite thing. I mean, I'll play it occasionally, but it's nothing to really sing about. If they had more NPCs in the mode, that would really make it better. If you just added a whole bunch just everywhere, you know, like an actual war, that would have been pretty badass. Lastly, I wanted to discuss the rec packs and microtransactions. All I really have to say is making armor, emblems, and any customization a grind of luck and money is stupid. They took out tons of starter emblems and locked them away within the game's currency boxes. Like, what? Why would they think people who can't pick the cowboy hat as an emblem will either A, grind in game an absurd amount of time to gain the money necessary to buy a box that will hopefully drop their cowboy hat emblem, or B, spend countless real life currency hoping that their treasured cowboy hat will come from it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. There just isn't enough starter options when it comes to customization. Despite all these complaints and problems, I haven't totally given up on Halo 5 though. I hope in time they add more maps. Give more options when it comes to customizing your character. Maybe bring in the ability to vote for maps someday. Oh, maybe even, dare I say, add split screen back? For right now, I don't think I can recommend paying $65. The game is just too limited and one-sided. They had a specific goal when they made this game, and I don't know who they were addressing when they made that goal. But what we end up getting, the players, the people, the fans, Halo's community, is a game that is fun. It looks good. There is some interesting story elements within the campaign. But just because of that lack of character development and just how little you tend to care for most of these new characters like Locke's entire team, it's just, I can't say, hey, go buy it, $65, go, right now. No. I'd rather recommend Metal Gear. But I'm also the only person so far speaking negatively about this game. Could these all be my own problems? Am I the only one who hates Halo 5? Maybe. You guys can let me know in the comments section. If you enjoy it, I envy you, I really do. I wanted to like this game. I wanted to love Halo 5. Especially since I played that beta and it was everything I wanted in a Halo game. It was the best Halo game I have ever played in that beta. And they completely changed it and altered it, and now it's a shell of what it once was. It really is. So guys, until I find Halo 5 superior, I'll stick with Halo 3. I'll see you on the battlefield. This is Demon Fox Yoko, signing off.